Hey everyone, welcome back to the platform Great Plains Edition. Tonight we're going to be talking DR7 sports, DR7 tournament that we have going on this season. Wanted to bring in a very special guest. He is what are you, the owner, head coach, CEO of WTX Elite?
I'm all of it and
All of it?
beyond.
Good
Yes, sir.
deal. All right, so yeah, we have Coach Hendricks, and he's going to tell us more about who you are and your past history, and who is Coach Hendricks.
All right, man. How you doing tonight? You doing good?
All right, yep.
Yes, sir. My name is Undra Hendricks. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. Played professionally in arena indoor football leagues across the United States for 12 years. In 2019, I started a 7-on-7 team called West Texas Elite. Um, we've been around, like I said, since 2019. Over That would be 2019. His 6 years, over 6 years existence. We've won over five championships between our 18 and 15 U. In 2021, we went to the Premier Nationals. We finished runners up that year. We've won, like I said, on the 18U level, we won four championships. On the 14, 15U level combined, two to three championships. We've put have 100. First off, we have 100% graduation, which I'm big on the high school graduating. Football stuff is fun, but I'm really teaching tell these kids, getting a high school diploma and going to college, whether you're playing ball or not, that's going to change your life. Um, Out of those 6 years, we've had over 25 guys go to college. Um, Currently, we have three guys that have played Division One ball, or has offers to go play Division One ball. Guys that play D2, D3 ball. The first guy that played on our first group, he'll be a senior next year. He actually got a red shirt year, so he's gonna actually get a fifth year. So really seeing the growth from him starting back when he was a junior all the way up until now, kind of says everything you need to say about our program and the West Texas kids, and just the way that they have to fight and earn to kind of get everything.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why I really like you, and I think we have a really good relationship, is because you are exactly like me, and we want what's best for the athletes. We do this for the athletes. We don't do it for the, you know, a lot of these organizations, and when I say organizations, I mean the big 7-on-7 tournaments. When you take your teams to their tournaments, they seem to want you. It's almost like you are promoting the the tournament. You know what I mean? Where
Yes, sir.
DR7, and with what you're telling me, we agree. When you go to a DR7 tournament and WTX is there, we're there to showcase your athletes. That's what we want to do. We want to promote you, the athlete, and not DR7 so much. So I think that's why we get along so well.
Yes,
So
sir.
we both really care about the player. Um, so with that being said, why do you trust DR7? Why do you bring your teams? What makes us stand out to where you want to bring your athletes to a DR7 event?
Well, the first year when we really hit the circuit hard, I met Mark Henry.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that really took, me and him kind of just connected, and he really saw the vision and plan for what I have for those kids, and he just liked the way that I ran and operated things, and our guys were competing. We don't have the 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2 stars, whatever stars. Our kids are really kids that I kind of tell them, like, you got to be scrappy. The best way to like I tell them, the best way those March Madness teams, a 16 seed upsets a 1 seed. You got to be knit, you got to be gritty, you got to be scrappy, you got to hang around, and when you have that opportunity, you got to take it, because most of those kids that have never been through adversity, never faced those moments of pressure, you guys have, because you always been the underdogs.
Yeah.
So me and Mark, we connected. At that time, DR7 and Championship 7v7 were connected. That next year when DR7 split it up, I kind of kind of made a decision, and the decision was, I rock with my boy Mark, and Ben Spicer, and the whole clique, Mumphrey, and every tournament that we go to DR7, they're gonna show us love.
Yeah.
I know that for a real. And I tell my kids and parents, regardless whether we go and win a championship, because I'm like, if it's 64 teams in the 18U bracket, well, you got 1 out of 64 chances to win.
Right. Right.
So,
And
and
whether you win or not, we are going to give your kids some exposure. Um, you know, if you ball, you get the call. That's Mark's. That's Mark's motto,
facts,
and it's
facts.
true. It's true. And those players out of West Texas, they are every ounce as good as the kids out in Dallas and the kids in Chicago and the kids out Florida. I've seen them. Jackson Lawler,
That's
unbelievable.
my
I
guy.
mean, he's definite power four. So, what DR7 tournaments do you plan on bringing your teams to?
Well, I saw there was one in, I believe, in Houston, the 17th and 18th. Where I'm thinking about doing that. Might have to kind of see, because, we also had told, Coach Brooks over there at True Buzz, I think they're doing a tournament out in Crowley for Save the Violence. They had those 2 kids that died in Utah.
Oh, okay.
So, we may go do that. I took a position in Dallas, and I'll be moving back to the Metroplex full time. So that's where I was going to kind of get to towards the
Yeah.
end. It's going to be a kind of transition on how to try to keep this thing rolling. But like I told the kids, now that I'm kind of in the area, yeah, I can kind of access more. I can kind of tell people like, hey, this is what we need to do, and kind of get you got not you, because live in the Metroplex, but the rest of the media team and those people out there to say, hey, when if you get second or third round and you get a, Amarillo Tascosa or a West Plains or a Canyon or a Bushland, you might want to watch for this kid, you know what I'm saying? Because, these kids are good. Um, I know in February you guys are going to New Orleans and in Dallas. So I'm looking at, February, March. I like the OKC tournament. I think that tournament is always awesome playing up there. We had our first opportunity to play on the, live stream last year against I really brag about it all the time, and I don't think my kids or a lot of the people in the area in general, I don't think they realize that the team that we beat, in that tournament, C4, like I told them, I said, I think all I said, in my opinion, I said, I think all 15 of those kids are going to be playing P4 or P5 ball.
Yeah.
And I said, you guys that were undersized, and like I say, it's a nitty gritty. We stayed around and we got the stops on those, those conversions, and we converted our conversions, and we stuck through it, and
Right.
we were able to beat them, and they went on to win that championship in that tournament. And like I told the guys, I was like, yeah, they won the championship, but you guys know you can play at that level, but um you
And
guys put
Sean
that.
Sean Cooper knows you guys that your guys can play with his guys now too.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yes, sir, yes, sir, yes,
But
sir.
he's
And I love Sean, man.
oh,
He does a
absolutely.
great job for that area, and he's kind of in the same boat, trying to really bring exposure for that area. And really, truly, if the West Texas area could ever truly come together, really, truly, I think the only thing that really hurts this area is itself, the people itself. I ain't gonna say draining, but it's always kind of a blame game, or they don't come here, they don't do that. But in the reality of it is, at the end of the day, if Steve Sarkisian wants to get a 4-star running back, he's going to Dallas.
Yeah.
If you want him to come, if you want him to come to Amarillo, then or Lubbock, then you're gonna have to do some crazy work on the field. And like I tell the kids, like, if you're not going to the state semis every year, then you're gonna have to play 7-on-7. You're gonna have to go to these circuits. You're gonna have to make a name for yourself. So now, when they say your name, like Jackson Laurier, who's an O line D lineman, but he plays tight end and linebacker for
Right.
me, and then they're like, well, why is he dominating on the field? I said, well, because we go 7-on-7 out there, and then will work out O line D line. But the fact that he's able to run with a deep, able to run with a slot receiver, he's able to outrun a tight end. He's able to outrun a DB. Now you putting him on the O line and have him getting out there on them screens. He can go take 2 guys out. Now you put him in that 3 tech. I mean, No guard is going to stop him. Him being 6'6", 260.
Yeah.
You know, it's. But nobody would have known about him if there wasn't a circuit, if there wasn't all these other different things. You know, Bushland went 4-6 this year, and like I told him, I said the reason people know about Bushland still is because of Jackson Lawyer. He was first team all district on the O line and D line, and it's kind of crazy to me because I was like, if you went 7-3 or 8-2, that's letting everybody know you're the district MVP.
And that's another great point, that when I go to those tournaments, like Oklahoma City was my very first big DR7 tournament. I don't think people realize how much DR7 helps out a lot with this, but how much really kids do get noticed at 7-on-7. Jackson, that's where I saw him, was 7-on-7, and started getting his name out through 7-on-7. And like you said, down in Bushland, they don't get a lot of publicity down there. So if Mr. Hendricks, Coach Hendricks, can get him out on the 7-7 field, he starts to get noticed. So yeah, exactly. So let me ask you something. Let me put you in a position here. You're talking to an organization, another 7-on-7 team, at a non DR7 tournament. Okay, you're talking to another coach. You tell the coach you just played in a DR7 tournament. What are you telling him to try to convince him to come to a DR7 event?
Well, number one, like I tell them, I say if you got some seniors that are unsigned, bring them to a DR7 event. Because first off, they let you guys let the seniors play that still kind of need that opportunity, so they still get opportunity to play. Um, if you make it to the championship, if you got the live stream going, you're going to get that national TV exposure. With OT7 out there, everybody wants to be on the NFL Network and YouTube Live. But I was like, hey, you can go watch C4 and DEC West Texas Elite last year, and you can see us playing. And I was like, it gives guys opportunities like that. And um, but really for the most part, for me, they're gonna show you love. If you have a kid, whether I've taken kids to DR7 events and we went 0-4, 0-4, not winning the game, and as I'm driving home, I'm looking on Twitter and everybody's tagging me, and I got 9 or 10 kids with, hey, he's a lanky DB that can show
Yeah,
some, promise and different things like that. So for me, yeah, we went 0-4, but these kids are, what I'm saying, 4-0 because they got four guys that fall in love with them, or they got you, my guy Buckets, following them like Jackson writing up articles, or Mark Hen writing up articles. Marquin was the quarterback at Independence, Abilene Wiley, Keegan Anderson. Mark Henry is the reason he's the way he's at. Mark saw him throw the ball at we were scrimmaging Texas Ice, and Keegan was in 8th grade, and Mark had came out there, and he had just really recording and was getting some clips and just kind of evaluating. And the first time he saw Keegan throw the ball, he was like, he's it.
yeah,
And then from that moment on, no matter what tournament we went to, he was gonna be over there to see my boy throw the ball, man.
yeah,
Whether
yeah,
whether whether we win, lose, or draw. And like for me, like I said, obviously, like I like Pylon. Pylon is being one of I like Baron. Um, but DR7, for me, um, it's family.
yeah,
So family
exactly.
gotta show love, and family gotta keep doing different things. And like I told Mark, man, you guys have established a platform which has got the perfect name of the platform for guys and kids to really see and show. Because out this way, even with you guys doing videos and posting, they still don't believe. You know what I'm saying? They still don't believe that it really works. But now, with Jackson, and they're like, well, Jackson is, like I said, next year in 2026, when it rolls around to the fall, he's gonna be the number one guy
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
besides the Paulo Duro quarterback, besides those kids over there. And if I could ever get those kids to come to a tournament, boy, oh my gosh.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
like you said, you might have went 0-4, but I, again, my opinion, but DR7, the way it works is you went 0-4, but like you said, you went 4-0 because that 0-4 that don't get put out to the media, right? Right. But your kids, when we write about your kids, that's what goes out. So that's what's important. So we really, really, really do. And you said it, and Jonathan Mumphrey said it. When you come to a DR7 tournament, you are family. We are a family out there, and just like you brought up another organization, just as I said before, those tournaments. When you get those tournaments, when you go to those tournaments, it's almost like you're promoting them. It's almost like you're promoting battles. You're promoting Pylon. Um, they don't promote you. Where at DR7, we're going to promote you, and not our brand name. So again, yes, we do consider you family. So I want to talk more. We talked about Jackson. I want you to give me. I know you got Creed Newkirk. Is he
Yeah,
on your
yeah.
team?
He played for us about 2 years ago, but he hasn't. He's a being that Wheeler, he does every type of sport, so it's kind of hard for him to get to a tournament. But I know in his playoff game, he just recently had a devastating injury, and
Oh, really?
prayers up for Creed. He still got some offers and stuff going on along the way. He was district MVP for that team, and really put Wheeler kind of back on the map. So prayers up to my guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me some other names that you'll be bringing out to events that we can get them some exposure.
We're gonna start with the Abilene group. We got Jace Johnson, out of Abilene Cooper. Jace is a monster. He's 6'4", 6'5", lanky, tall. Kind of reminds me of trying to think of his name. If you think of for the Green Bay Packers, a Justin Watson, um, a Mike Evans, a tall, lanky kid that can go get the ball. Um, he can take a screen, he can take it and go the distance. But I really think this circuit is really about his dominance. If it's a one-on-one situation and it's a ball in the air, I feel like we're confident he can come down with anybody against anybody not just in the state but in the nation. Also staying in Abilene, we got, especially from Cooper, we call him Dot, but his name is Jamarion Dunson. He's like a safety rover, kind of a young Jabril Peppers back in Jabril Peppers Michigan playing days. He is a dog. He's like, if he gets an opportunity at P4, P5, where or North Texas, whatever, he's a kid that is gonna grow, and has that potential to go to the NFL. Um, Also from that area, quarterbacking from Abilene High, Tristan Beal. He split time with Brayton Henry the last 2 years. He's thrown for over 2,000 yards in each season, and that splitting time, with probably the greatest Abilene quarterback, in the history. Um, but Tristan is a kid that I think if he has a good circuit, he throws for 3,000, 4,000 yards. He's a kid that can play at any school, any level. Um, DB wise, Charlie Meeks, 6'2", 6'1", lanky DB. Very smart, very knowledgeable, can play both sides of the ball. Jeremiah Collins is a senior. He played receiver for us on the circuit, but he started at corner for him this year and was a first team all district DB. Then I got another Jewel, we call him, my Jewel Abosa. Um, he's he might next year might be the year that everybody really know. He has that potential to be like Quentin Gibson, that can just break onto the scene, that can put up 2,000 yards in one season. And that's just the Abilene side of things. When you get into the Amarillo, Lubbock area, you got Jackson Laurier coming out of Bushland. Your Panhandle boys, Lucas Purcell, Landon Andrews, them two kids right there. I think next year Panhandle might make a deep run. They have some young guys, but I think with Lucas and Landon, they losing their quarterback Broxton, who's a 4-year starter. He's going to the Army, but Lucas and Landon brings a little, I want to say, a little fun, diversity to them, a little young. some stuff that they might need to get over that hump. You know, they've been there to the second and third round. You know, the last couple of years, and I think for them to get over that hump, I think they might have to lean on the Lucas and Landon a lot more in those situations like we are this year.
I'm
Um,
really looking forward to seeing Purcell because even though I'm up in the Great Plains, thanks to you, I look at a lot of kids down around your
yeah.
area, and I was really impressed with his videos.
We got him. Then we got the Canyon boys. You know, Reese Baca, quarterback.
Very
Um,
very interested in him.
He he backed up the starter at Canyon this year, which was I believe was a senior. So Reese will be the guy next year, junior senior year. There's a young buck over there, Jaden Veerman. Remember that name. He will be something special, whether it's at safety, corner, quarterback, running back, whatever you need to do, he gonna do. He's an athlete, he can do it all. Um, Trying to think of who else. Far as Randall, there's a kid named Cash Funk. You remember Cash Funk and Hendrix
Yep,
Funk?
yep,
They were up there.
yep.
Cash next year will have a bigger role. He was a sophomore, so he had a
Okay.
little pay his dues, but he'll have a bigger role next year. And your Hendrix Funk, you know, I think he'll be a backup QB next year. But I think, you know, one injury away, you know, he's gonna get thrown in the fire. So um there's a, you know, and really truly for this group, I think that's really it. You know what I'm saying? Like with that group right there, and you know, we have some other kids that, you know, don't have any varsity experience just yet. But they're gonna help us along the way on this circuit. So um
Did you take Reese Baca? Did you check him up to Deion Sanders camp?
yes, yes, sir,
December
yes.
son. How did he do up there? Pretty good.
Yeah, Reese was on. If he would have had some varsity film and played, you know, the year before and won the, you know, freshman, I think they would have offered him. Because Phil Shermer was very, you know, impressed. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I tell Reese, I said he's not the offensive coordinator no more. He's just a quarterback's coach.
Right.
So you know, things like that go and change. I said, but the way that you play like that is how you have to play all the time, not just because we're in Colorado and Dion's here. You know, you got to play like that when we're practicing. You know, you got to be able to realize and break down and read the defense in a split of a second, just like that.
Yeah. Well, I've again just my opinion, but those West Texas guys, I think they appreciate um, how do I want to put it? They reach for it harder. I think you see kids out of West Texas. They work out 3 times a day. 3 times a day, early morning, right after school, and at night. They're on it all. 3 times a day. So really like them. So I was talking to you earlier. You got a new position.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell us about that.
So I accepted a position for the to be the offensive coordinator, running backs coach, wide receivers coach for the indoor football team, the Dallas Bulls. They're in the
Congratulations.
appreciate you. We play in the National Arena League. Just before I got on this, we had our first official team meeting, kind of introduction. Our first game is March 7th. We have a preseason game, and then March 14th, you know, we're going to welcome the Colorado Spartans to Dallas, Texas. So, you know, like I told my mom, I'm coming home. I'm moving back to the Metroplex. Don't really know the future for West Texas Elite after the 2026 season. You know, that's the honest thing. What I do know, I love these kids. I love everybody that's, you know, poured into my organization, that's did anything that I've, you know, anything I've ever asked. But like I tell the kids, West Texas League will never die. I said, because you guys that, you know, have made it and keep growing, and, you know, guys become husbands and have kids, you're gonna remember those, man. And for me, you know, like I told the old guys, I said, man, I want you to remember me, you know, as a not just as a coach for the, you know, yelling, screaming, whatever it may be, but just the moments. And just say, hey, he really did love me, man.
Yeah.
Coach really did care about me. Coach really did invest into me, not only on the field but off the field. And in this day and age, you know, a lot of these kids don't get that loving at home. I deal with a lot of kids with single parents, single moms, or single dads, or, you know, you might have a kid that has two parents at the house, but he just doesn't get any attention. So he's doing a lot of extra things to try to get extra attention. He might be one of the most talented kids there is. So it's a reminder that I wouldn't even have gotten that job without 707. So you can use me as an example as well. When you're talking to kids, you're like, hey, there's a coach that went back to school and is about to get his degree and doesn't even have a
I
high
saw
school
that. I saw
have a
that.
have a high school coaching job, but he's able to get a professional, a professional arena job. And like I told my kids, I said, hey, if I go and have a great year this year and a great year next year, you never know what the future holds. And I have aspirations and dreams. Whether it win a state championship as a head coach, a collegiate national championship, or a professional, whether it's indoor arena or outdoor, or not outdoor but NFL, whatever it may be. I've truly am blessed that God has blessed me with, like I said, different people that's blessed my organization. We've had people leave the organization. We've had our ups, we've had our downs. As good as we've have been, the last couple of years, and I'm gonna lie, it's been kind of miserable. When you lose kids, you lose families, it does hurt. You lose best friends, you lose media people, it does hurt. But I've learned it's a business, and at the end of the day, people got to do what's best for them. Um, at the end of the day, life goes on, and like I tell my kids, hey, that's football.
Yeah.
Shit, you can have a great day one. You come out and play like shit. Game one, day two, deuces.
Well, just like you were saying, and we've said before, you and all your kids are part of the DR7 family. Mark Henry, Jonathan Mumphrey, um, Ben Spicer. We all consider you personally and all your kids part of the family. But going back to what you said earlier, people ask me why I do what I do for DR7, why I do it, and and again, this is why I think me and you are so good together because I feel the same way. People ask me why I do what I do, and it's so that I can get these young men a jump start on their being productive husbands and productive fathers, productive citizens. I just want them to get a head start, and if I can get one kid one offer, then that's all I need. So,
Yes,
well,
sir.
Coach Hendricks, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you coming on, and really, really, really look forward to seeing you. And I definitely want you to send me a schedule of your indoor league too,
Yes, sir.
because if you're anywhere up around here, I'll stop by.
Oh yeah, for sure. We play up in Omaha.
Do you? Okay, maybe I'll try to
Yes,
make
sir.
that one.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
now is that the beef
Yes, sir. The
place
beef.
with the beef?
Yes,
So,
sir.
so they used to be coached by Big Tree uh, out of Florida State, and I can't remember his name. Oh man, he was their coach for a long, 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 long time.
Okay.
But
Okay. Okay.
I'm a Seminole since 1981, so I had to go up
Yes,
see him.
sir.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I might try to come up there. But again, I want to tell you thanks again, and I cannot wait to see you at a DR7 tournament.
Yes, sir. I can't wait to be there.
All right, you take care. Thanks again.
You, you too.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.